Hey guys, today I'm going to do my best to briefly sum up my reactions, thoughts and speculations regarding the newly revealed gameplay and cinematic trailers for the upcoming Silent Hill 2 remake, due for release by Konami on the 8th of October 2024. I briefly gave my thoughts on the news of the upcoming remake and also the Silent Hill 2 movie, Return to Silent Hill, which is being helmed by the original director of the first movie, Christoph Gans. This was back when I released my Silent Hill 2 retrospective video, which again I have to thank you for all the love and praise that video has been getting recently. However, I thought I'd give my thoughts on something current and in discussion currently amongst fans, whether for good reasons or bad. This video will be in two sections. One discussing my thoughts against the backdrop of the transmission itself, and then the State of Play release date trailer. Although both Masahiro Ito and Akira Yamaoka are involved within the project, doing the creature design and soundtrack, this time the talk is held by Motai Okamoto, who is the series producer currently. I think he keeps it brief here and tries to reassure the audience at the end that the remake is in safe hands in terms of the respect and humility going into this remake, as the team understands the importance of this title to fans globally. Now, we get our first taste of a new part of the soundtrack against the backdrop of the Toluca Lake observation deck and some shots of South Vale. And I have to get this out of the way, I'm extremely impressed with the fog and graphical fidelity of the environments in this trailer. I wasn't sure they would be able to capture it well enough, but this has put my mind to rest, as I think the fog is the most important part of a Silent Hill game's graphics. We get some nice Easter eggs like big J's, but also some new areas we haven't seen before. Now, speaking of the graphics, I'm not so sure I'm entirely sold yet on James's look. He looks more like, "Mum, can we have Leon Kennedy? We have Leon Kennedy at home." I like that they keep bringing up in the titles how big a deal the original was, and setting the tone it's more psychological than all-out action horror, which is something more in the spirit of the Resident Evil remakes. I like this welcome home shot too, as it reminds me of the welcome back poster that came in the Silent Hill 2 instructions manual. Also, we don't speak of homecoming. We get our first shot of Maria once you leave her in the Brookhaven hospital room. Her outfit is slightly different here though, and her butterfly tattoo is now on her chest rather than her hip. We get a nice bit of voiceover from Mary, which sounds very suited to the character and well performed.
You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did.
We then hear James recite the original opening, overlooking the Toluca Lake observation deck, where he says about the letter from Mary, and I have to say I think his voice sounds much more natural in this, in line with Guy Seehey's original performance, than the monstrosity of the Giga Chad James Sunderland we got from Troy Baker.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. Is she really alive?
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary.
Now, when the gameplay portion started, I have to say I got goosebumps immediately. The environments and streets of South Vale look incredible. The fog is perfect. It shrouds just enough to feel like you never know what could be around the next corner, or what items may be hidden either side of the street, promoting a real exploration of this familiar but seemingly new world.
What is this?
Hope this is not Chris's blood.
I like that James's hair isn't just bright yellow anymore, like in that combat reveal trailer. However, I don't like he's lost the patches on his M65 field jacket.
Hey, wait.
Now, something seems off to me about the movement of the walking here, especially when James starts to run. He seems very stiff or unnatural. This garden environment reminds me of the Resident Evil 4 remake, in the way that it still has familiar and already existing locations, but distances between them seem much more expanded. We see James crawl under a space into this garage, which is a new mechanic that may create some tense moments. Also, we get our first look at the Woodside Apartments here, but I'm not sure that I like you can see the natural light from outside. In the original, that first indoor area of the apartments was so pitch black from all the boarded up windows that the tight black corridors with just the flashlight made it so stressful and claustrophobic. James needs to find the radio here as well, and not in the tunnel where he has his first encounter. I'm not sure if this means this is still the first encounter, or just that you haven't had any warning up until now without the radio. Only thing is, I don't like how James seems so blasé about it. He doesn't reel in horror, he doesn't jump, he doesn't go for the door, he just kind of grabs this plank of wood accepting it, without saying a word or changing moods at all. Now, apart from this giving me some Homecoming vibes, it does feel the combat doesn't feel as stiff as it did in the combat reveal trailer that everyone hated. Only thing I'm worried about is how close the camera is. That fast motion of the swings will probably make me motion sick. Some games seem to do that. Also, the finishing hit here feels so close to the body and fast, it looks super weak. Not like our boy Henry giving a charged up super swing in the room.
Oh, hi Mark.
I do like that we hear James's grunt and strain whilst fighting though. The blood around the edges of the screen are a nice indicator, but I'm still interested to see how that original layout of the inventory screen will look. I'm hoping it's not too different. And I like that you can search in places for items now. I think that it will really give a reason to explore every little corner of the map. And I like you can inspect the items in 3D up close like the Resident Evil remakes too. Now, it seems you can hotkey both health drinks and syringes to heal without the inventory screen, but does that mean we'll still have ampoules and health kits too? Minor nitpick too, but the soundtrack playing here doesn't seem it's in the right place. I'm sure this portion of the soundtrack plays right at the end when you leave the hospital and travel to the Historical Society. Also, before recording this, I watched this on my TV at the highest resolution I could so I could get a feel of what it would look like as I'm actually playing, and I have to say I'm still floored by these environments. It looks absolutely incredible. The fog and lighting just seem perfect. We get a closer look at Laura here. I like they still have the same cat graffiti on the wall below too.
What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait! How do you know her name?
I just pray this is a clip from the whole cutscene and not the entire thing. We then see Maria and James follow Laura into Brookhaven Hospital, and I like that you can see it's later in the day with the setting sun. It almost makes you feel like night's coming, so you need to hurry up.
I don't know. Let's look around.
This gives me very RCPD vibes. I love how authentic looking the map is.
This place feels so empty. More than the other places we've been.
I like the little blink and you'll miss it moments like that, as it sets up a scare that may never come, which is what Silent Hill does so well. I hope there's more moments like that. One thing I'm still torn on is that I like how immersive it is to see the notes and objects in hand, however I do love a good pre-rendered static image. It's quite a creepy image, and I like how Maria will give you hints of things to inspect, but I don't want that to become too obvious, like we can't figure anything out for ourselves. Maybe it'll differ on different difficulties. The lighting looks so great. I'm actually playing Silent Hill 3 again at the minute, and the lighting in that game is superb. Only thing I don't like here is that Maria is supposed to be a manifestation created by the town for James. However, in the original game, her and Laura never interact, nor do you ever see them together. As Laura doesn't see what James is experiencing, she shouldn't be able to see or interact with Maria. Also, I love how James just lets her go, like, shit man, I couldn't possibly run up another flight of stairs and just grab her. It's like she's right fucking there, just go get her.
Where is that girl?
Ah, so it does seem you can choose not to fight everything in this then. If you want to sneak around, that's good. I was kind of worried that if they focus too heavily on combat in this, that they'd force you to fight everything to make use of all these new gameplay mechanics, but it's good they leave it up to you. That looks so sick. Really nice use of the darkness and limited sight. And it seems you can switch quickly between weapons, making for certain combos. Right, now it seems he only had 6 or so shots in total there on him, and that nurse took a lot to go down. Now if they keep that balance well, like very limited ammunition and health, and tough enemies, it will force players to be smarter in their choices, which I very much like, as it's the core of what survival horror used to be. Ah, the bent needle puzzle, nice. Good to see they're keeping a majority of the puzzles the same, and it seems some weapon locations haven't changed, like the shotgun in the locker here. Only this time Maria doesn't seem to be with you. Ah, the good old Jacob's Ladder shaky head. Nice. And I have to say I'm more impressed by the weapon noises and impact here than it was in that god-awful combat trailer.
My gun still makes noise.
Well, no, well, that's you doing that, bud.
No, it isn't. Pew, pew.
Yeah, see, that's you, bud.
Oh, that is me.
Yeah, you use the hair and the needle to fish that key out of the drain. I like how the enemies seem that they can enter rooms whilst you're in there, and it's not just that they're waiting in the room for you. It makes you always on edge. Nice to see they've kept the exact same noise of the lying figure. Oh, that looks like the blood-splattered padded cell where we get the code in the original. Laura really looks like a child actor I've seen in a film before, but I can't think who.
Why do you keep running away from me? And how do you know about Mary?
Mary's my friend. We met at the hospital last year.
Stop lying. Laura, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Fine! Don't believe me! See if I care!
Hey!
Let go!
Sorry, Laura, but I can't let you just run around this place. You might get hurt.
Hurt by what?
Look,
Also, the facial animations and CG
Stay.
cutscene here look really great
It's no
too.
place for a kid.
Fine. But there's something I gotta get.
Laura.
It's important.
What do you mean? Where are we going?
Woody, we're gonna go get me cube. We've gotta go to Bendigo to get me green cube.
What is it?
A letter. For Mary.
What?
I hid it. In there.
sure this is where you left it?
It's in the back. Behind an old pipe.
Okay, wait here.
Haha!
Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Do ya?
Let me out of here, you little brat!
In your dreams, fart face.
I love that they kept the fart face line in this.
There's something in here.
She kind of reminds me of Evelyn a bit from Resident Evil 7. Maybe it's like the gap in the teeth or something.
Laura!
Sick. I hate that boss fight too though, as it's so cramped and you just can't get away. Also, I don't know if I still like that cover art. When I first saw that, I thought it might be like a placeholder kind of thing, but it looks like it's a bit fan arty to me. That might just be me though.
皆さんいかがでしたでしょうか。真のサイコロジカルホラーであり、シリーズ最高傑作として評されたサイレントヒル2のストーリーはそのままに、本作ではより
I like how they keep stating how important that they know the game is to people, and that they will hopefully remain as close to the original's intent as
そしてすで
possible.
に発表いたしました通り、発売日は10月8日です。こちらはプレイステーション5と Steam でリリースされます。また、プレイステーションストアと Steam にて本日から予約の受付を開始しています。これからご紹介する事前予約特典などもご確認いただき、アクセスしてみてください。では、ここからは
Come on and let's see these
商品ラインナップ
pre-orders.
のご紹介です。本作のスタンダードエディションを事前予約していただ
Well,
く
I
こと
was
で
hoping for something cool, like a physical release with a figure or an art book or something, but it looks like this is just all digital download and in-game content. That Myra mask is pretty cool though. I really actually hope that they keep that dog ending. That would be amazing.
サイレントヒル2の世界観をより楽しんでいただくためのデジタルアートブック、サウンドトラック、そしてピラミッドヘッドのマスクが含まれます。
Also, that deluxe one with the album and soundtrack and digital art book is so worth the extra money, as the soundtrack physically to buy would be like £10 to £20, and the art book would be at least 50 plus, so I'm defo getting that.
サウンドトラックは今回も原作と同じように山岡明さんが手掛けており、原作の楽曲のアレンジ版のほか、
Can we just appreciate how amazing both Masahiro Ito and Akira Yamaoka's work is on these titles, just for a moment?
楽しみにしていただければと思います。そしてデラックスエディションも
Ah, you get 2 days early access, eh? I'm gonna have to call in work. I'm not feeling too well at the minute. Well, you're not just playing Silent Hill 2 48 hours early access, are you? No. What's that? What's Silent Hill 2?
MJ, sit back, man.
Shut the fuck up, man. Whoa! What? Hey,
My restless
are the lights on in this house?
I see that Silent Hill.
さて、コナミとゲームの開発会社であるブルーバーチームがタッグを組んでお送りするサイレントヒル2ですが、ブルーバーチームのスタッフからメッセージ映像を受け取っています。こちらをご覧ください。
I'm very excited for people to play this game. There's no one aspect that I could say that I want people to experience, because I want people to experience all of it. It's such a journey, it's such a big part of our lives, and I just want people to be able to see it.
I think the biggest challenge that we've had was actually how to make the game approachable for the newcomers who have not played the original, but at the same time to still retain the familiarity of the game that player remembers from 20 years ago.
Right. The thing is with that though, the game is approachable anyway. It's one of the most important survival horror titles ever created, so it's not like people are apprehensive going into it. You can't on one hand say what an incredible piece of art that lasted all these years amongst fans, and on the other hand say it's not approachable unless it's modernised. Those things don't really go together in my mind.
Our goal from the very beginning was to maintain the game's atmosphere
while modernizing the gameplay to make it competitive in 2024.
It doesn't need to be competitive. People won't be playing this game as it's the latest thing on the market or it's trending on social media. People playing this will be fans of the original or people who have been wanting to play the original but never could, because still to this day you cannot just get ports of these titles on modern game consoles, only PC versions.
In the remake, the story remains largely the same. However, with the magic of modern technology, we were able to expand on some of its aspects.
The hardest was designing combat. We want to be as faithful as possible to the original game, but also we want players to feel satisfaction while playing.
No, just no. The combat in Silent Hill, although not the smoothest, only adds to the suspense in some way. As you know, any encounter may leave you in a worse situation than you entered. It's that fight or flight response. By making the combat too appeasing and satisfying, like some other titles such as the Resident Evil 4 remake, you'll just be looking to have as many combat encounters as possible rather than just focusing on surviving and escaping whatever sort of nightmare you're trapped in.
So when making a game with static cameras, you as a designer have much more control over what players sees, where they go and so on. The change for the third-person perspective was a challenge.
Then don't do it. Static camera angles in survival horror help build suspense as well as limiting your line of sight, making you always on edge and searching every inch of the screen either for a threat, a puzzle or key items. In the original Silent Hill 2, the camera does remain behind the player for a majority of the time though. It would only change depending on what area you're in or when the game wanted you to notice something that might go unseen. I think it shows off the environments well. It just gives a feel of unease and makes you feel less protected, the camera being that far out. I'm not totally against the idea of this perspective, but I think they could have had a balance between the two such as the original did. It doesn't have to be full on static such as the original Resident Evils. You could still have the camera the same style, and I don't think newcomers would find it difficult to adapt to at all. The only reason I can think of for doing it is to focus on the combat more. I could easily picture the recent Resident Evil remakes having fixed camera angles and people getting through the games just as easy.
That being said, it's a chance for us to expand this world, to show the players new elements that were previously inaccessible and just make this game richer.
So the main thing that requires rethinking was the fog, because it was called classic in the original game, and it's a veil that covers the world and makes the player to feel even more isolated.
Okay, yes, the fog does look amazing in this, I'll say again. Bloober have nailed the fog.
Gives us a chance to do things that were not possible during the earlier generations of video games. For narrative, this is very visible in facial expressions. We can tell so much through just the subtle changes on characters' faces.
We'll get to Angela. Again, the voice acting in the original Silent Hill 2 was so perfect casting-wise that even without the facial animations being what they are today, you still got every line delivery hit with the perfect intent of what emotion the characters were going through at that moment.
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing! It stabbed you! There was blood everywhere!
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before! Don't you remember?
The presented gameplay footage shows a fragment of the city from the beginning of the game and sections in Brookhaven Hospital. The fight against monsters is prepared in a more tactical form, and it's mainly based on the varied designs of the enemies. James is not used to fighting, so his arsenal of attacks is limited.
Okay, that's great. Again, I don't want this to be a We Have Leon Kennedy at Home clone, where he's running around with a rocket launcher and suplexing nurses.
Determines what ending he will discover.
Ah, so they are keeping the original multiple endings, that's awesome.
本当にサイレントヒル2を大好きな人たちがこのリメイクに関わっています。細部までこだわって作っていますのでご期待ください。さらにゲームの中でジェームス役、メアリーとマリア役を演じてくれたキャストのインタビューも届いています。こちらもご覧ください。
So I'm Luke Roberts and I'm playing James Sunderland in the remake of Silent Hill 2.
My name is Salome Gunnarsdottir and I play Mary Maria.
When you're playing an iconic character such as James Sunderland, you obviously have to respect the original.
When playing these characters in this game, the thing that I paid most attention to was the original game.
Right, now the way they keep referencing that comes across very forced, like they've never once played the game and they're just being told to say it non-stop to stop people worrying. It's like when reviewers use a picture of Big Boss instead of Solid Snake and everyone's like, "No, that is not Solid Snake!"
No, that is not Solid Snake!
So he is not an action hero by any means. He is just a guy who is a little lost at the top of this game, and in a sense of he is to a greater extent in a bewildered state. So it's very interesting charting his journey.
This one, we're trying to honor something that's already been made. And so it's not me creating something, it's me channeling something.
You liar!
The tone of this game is very important, and the team at Bloober were very keen to create an incredible atmosphere for the gamers.
I do believe that this will be trying its very best to capture and recapture the atmosphere, the vibe, and the story, and sometimes like the literal words and moments of the original.
本作では俳優の表情と演技をパフォーマンスキャプチャーすることで心理描写を強化していますので、ぜひ期待していただければと思います。ゲームについての情報はここまでとなります。続いては映画 Return to Silent Hill の
Now this is
最
something I
新情
really
報
want
が
to
届
see
いて
more
お
on
ります。
too. I've
ご覧く
wanted
だ
a
さい。
Silent Hill 2 movie for so long. I'm really hoping they don't mess it up.
I came to adapt Silent Hill 2 with respect and passion. It's an act of passion for me. I consider that the four first games are a masterpiece.
I mean, say what you want about the first movie, but I think Christoph Gans really nailed the atmosphere and tone and look of the first game very well. Even with all the story and character changes, the vibe was still there for me. I'm just hoping he can still bring that, but this time stay a bit closer to the story, as it's very simple and doesn't need lots of tangents and complications. Nice location, I just don't like how clear it looks. It feels like it should be way more foggy and grey looking.
Find her back and find also somewhere a truth about himself. This film had an emotional level to the horror, and certainly because of that, the horror is even more disturbing, even more unsettling. I consider that the first film was like an epic journey for horror. This one is much more like a deep dive into the
Yes,
horror.
yes.
In the first film, production design of Silent Hill was the big thing. I remember that all my energy was on it. And on this one, I had the great surprise to realize that the people who were going to help me on the production design, but also on the makeup, but also on the costume, but also on every level of the film, I had in front of me very young technicians who knew.
Nice that they included that urinal shot in the opening. I really hope there's more shot-for-shot scenes like that. Ah, that looks like the boss fight area for the Abstract Daddy.
That I met on this film to create that strange world of Silent Hill was quite unexpected. I was thinking...
Nice, they have a mirror scene with Angela in the apartments.
I said, okay, I will have to explain a lot this film to my crew. And in fact, no, I didn't have to, because...
Oh sweet, that fog and forest area looks awesome, and so does the Woodside apartments, they look so good.
And I think that the level of design on this film is so high because it's made by people who knew the film and the game. So that's very gratifying and very emotional somewhere.
Christoph is really faithful and respectful to Silent Hill, and that's why Konami has always been really supportive.
We are working on their property and we are working on their, let's say, the world treasure. I kept one of the main ideas of the first film, which is that all the creatures are played by dancers and acrobats. If the first film has
Wow,
not
2006. I remember trying to sneak out to go and see it when it first released in cinemas when I was just a kid, as I just wanted to see it so badly.
By real person with physical gift. They have created a level of.
And it's good that they're using mainly practical models and effects rather than CG.
Monstrosity of these things, which I think is actually very disturbing. Akira Yamaoka is not only...
Oh, don't get me started on how much I love the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack. It is untouchable. I'm so lucky to have seen him play some tracks from it live.
So, Akira Yamaoka, through his music, has given to the game more than just the sound. He gave the soul of the game. And I have a great knowledge about soundtrack, but I don't know any other music which could be like the one of Silent Hill. Yes, Akira Yamaoka is on this film.
That's good that he's involved in this, as I can't remember the original film having much of its own original soundtrack. I thought it was just a mix of different tracks from separate games.
Like adapting a great book. It's important to show respect and humility into this process.
Well, that is looking very, very promising. Time for the State of Play trailer. Fucking hell, is this a Sims expansion pack or something? What the fuck happened to Angela?
She said to be wearing a white chiffon scarf to help me spot her. So, oh, for fuck's sake.
David?
Huh? Yeah, hiya.
Susan?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Right, straight away, shouldn't have shown the shots with her with a knife. You're revealing way too much about her character and backstory within the first meet, because you just, for some reason, think that people nowadays have no fucking attention span and everything's got to be exciting 24/7.
I'm sorry, I was just...
It's okay, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost. I'm looking for Silent Hill.
Damn man, those environments and fog.
Stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it?
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.
Oh nice, the prison and the abstract daddy. Sweet.
I'm not lying.
Fucking hell. Again, I minor nitpick, but I don't like her delivery there. She sounds way too confident in herself, like they've tried to make this really woke. Like, she's been through hardship, but don't worry, she's a sassy, independent woman.
I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not.
Ah, the clock puzzle. Lakeside Diner, that's new. Brookhaven's looking super creepy.
No.
She doesn't look too bad in that shot there, actually. The rest of the trailer, she looks like a fucking sim that someone's hit a randomizer on. It does look pretty intense, the combat. And the gore seems a big step up. That nurse looks soaked in blood. Oh, they got the lion figure from under the bus. In the original, that was the first moment of Silent Hill 2 that made me and my friends shit ourselves. You know the one I'm talking about. Oh wow, all the areas seem to be here, that's so cool. And the mandarins too. I wonder what the Pyramid Head encounters will be like.
I'll be good, I promise. Tell him I'll be good, please. No, please.
Guys, I'm honestly actually really impressed by most of all of that. There's the odd thing here and there, but overall I'm really excited to play the remake and see the movie as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it informative in some way, and I'm sorry it's been delayed in getting up here. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of these trailers and behind the scenes looks. But I hope to make more analysis style videos than this as time goes on. And you can bet once I've played the Silent Hill 2 remake you will be getting a deep dive video. Thank you very much for watching. I've been your host JB2IronZiggo, and I'll see you next time.